All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode of the Always Chillin' Podcast. Skinny Dean the Sandman here in the barbershop once again. Starting real quick because you want to talk about what did he blow? A dude got pulled over and blew a what?
Dude blew a .462.
That's pretty crazy.
That's
man. That's
like-
how is that like?
Ain't you dead though?
Yeah, can you even?
How you get to the car? How did you get
How
the
do you
keys?
how do you start the car?
How do you start the car? Cause you spinning. You definitely spinning by now.
Let's see.
.462.
Blood, alcohol.
It was either in Lincoln or Omaha.
Will
The
kill.
Omaha scanner, bro, on Twitter is a trip. Those
Yeah,
cops got
well,
those
this,
cops got a
this
sense of
says
humor.
University of Kansas. How much was it?
.462 something.
University of Kansas says .42 can be lethal.
Yeah.
He was above that. So, University of Kansas again says blood alcohol content of 0.3 can lead to complete unconsciousness
Damn.
and incontinence. So he's like shitting himself, but he could
Yeah.
drive.
You ain't even cool no more. And that's one thing about, like I said earlier, my parents owned a bar for a little time, right? And excuse me. Like I used to see all kinds of shit. Like that cool ass dude, you know what I mean? You see that dude, he comes in every weekend, he's fly, he got the fly shit, he got the fly Cadillac out there, and then by the end of the night, you know, I'm taking out of the garbage and shit, and this dude's bent over the fucking railing in the back of the bar, pissed down his pants and shit. I'm like, I can't look at you the same no more. You're no longer cool to me anymore. Or my homie's mom in there showing her ass and shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, God damn, that's the homie's mom. I was like, fuck, she out here naked and shit. All kinds of shit, man. Let alone to blow a 4.62, man, and get
that's
to the
crazy.
car and actually
That's
drive
crazy.
away. Do the cops test you at that point? Do
I
they
don't
even?
know. I don't know. Not to sound like a after school special, but like way too many people think drunk driving is not a big deal.
Yeah,
Like there's way too many people that just get fucked up and just drive.
and just
home.
drive. One thing about me, I never had a problem with leaving my car there.
Yeah, well, especially now, just like if you're gonna go drink, just take an Uber, man.
Take an Uber. Fuck, ride your bike.
Yeah,
I've ridden my bike drunk plenty of times.
yeah. There's just way too many. Like the older I get, the more I realize how many people I know that just
It's
like
a 2,000-pound bullet you fucking with.
yeah, that just like the number of people that I associate with in some way that just don't give a fuck about it. They'll just-
Yeah. That's
It's way too many. Like
More
one
people
one would
than-
be one would be too many.
more people than we actually would think do that.
Well, people get DUIs and they're like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. It's just my first one." I've heard, yeah, like
The
I've
way
heard
they-
somebody say that. you
the
know?
way they changed that shit here in Nebraska, and I assume it's everywhere else, man. I mean, what they say, you know, I'm across the street from them. You know what I mean? I see them
Yeah.
going there and test every day. They said your first DUI in Lincoln, Nebraska can cost up to $12,000 with all the classes, and you got to put the
Well, and
fucking
some people
shit in
just,
your
like,
the blow
Some people
shit.
just like still don't give a fuck. Like they have
and get second and thirds
well,
and
yeah,
shit.
they have like 7 DUIs,
It's like,
and it's like,
bruh.
oh, you can never have a license again. It's like, well, that never stopped him before. Like,
Yeah, because you didn't have one from the first
like,
time.
oh, you took his license forever, but he gets out of jail and he just keeps driving anyway, and it's like,
And if
I don't know, like, what can you do if somebody just doesn't give a shit? Like,
it you know, it goes bad. That's when it
Yeah.
goes bad. That's when it goes bad for somebody. But I can't imagine how much the second or the third is, but it's almost like, because I think back in the day you used to go to prison for that shit. Like they would let you.
yeah. I feel like back in the day they probably would be like, all right, just be careful and just let you drive home, probably.
Nah, back in the day, like
Well, I mean,
knew
I'm
dudes
talking back
that-
in the day, like in the 30s, or like the
Oh,
cops.
well shit.
Like the
Probably
cops
wasn't
were
a law
probably
yet.
yeah, the cops were probably drunk too.
It probably wasn't a law yet.
Actually, yeah, I saw I was watching some shit on YouTube and it was this video of people on the news talking about when they made it illegal to drink and drive.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and people are fucking pissed.
About when?
They're like,
when?
I thought
In
this
the-
was America. They want me to wear seatbelts and they're not gonna let me drink and drive
Oh
anymore.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think about that shit, huh? Cause shit, I'm old enough to remember cars with no seatbelts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these people were fucking pissed on the news. Like the government's taking my rights. Like I thought this was America, and I could choose if I wanted to drink and drive or not. Like they're interviewing people. It looks like it's like the 70s or something. I don't know what state it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have to be
Yeah.
60s or
I don't know what
70s.
state. It was somewhere in the South. I'll say that. But
Mm.
everybody has Southern accents. But these news people like running up on these cars, and the dudes in the car just like at the stoplight, just like drinking a beer, and they're like, "Oh, what do you think about not being able to do that anymore?" And he's like, "Fucking government trying to ruin my life."
What the fuck, dog?
He's
No
like,
shit.
he's like, I should be able to get in my car after a hard day's work and enjoy a beer on my way home. That's my God given right type shit.
Damn,
Yeah.
G. I guess that was a thing, huh?
Yeah.
Now you gotta wear a seatbelt. You can't drink and drive. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That
well,
would have been a trip.
my friends in Texas, like I would go home to Texas with one of my friends sometimes.
Right.
And he lived in this teeny tiny town, and they'd be like, "Oh, what do you want to do tonight?" And he'd be like, "Oh, we're just gonna go driving," and we would like, they would just get in their truck and drink beer and just like drive around in circles.
You know, even in Nebraska, you know, like the surrounding small towns around Lincoln, like, you know, I would hear, you know, dudes from small, like, yeah, man, what do they call them? Booze crews.
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all just cruise cornfields and shit up and down dirt roads and just kill a 6-pack or a fucking case.
Yeah.
That's how y'all did it. Y'all did
Mm-hmm.
that shit. Y'all didn't stop and chill somewhere. Nah, man, they call them booze cruises. It must be a
Yeah, just
small
like-
town thing.
Just like let's just get in the car and drive and just drink beers.
Nah, that's the last thing we was doing back in the day.
Yeah, it's weird.
Probably
It's not really that fun, honestly.
I could probably say 10 times out of 10, if we was in the car at least 2-3 deep, last thing we was gonna be was drunk. Nobody, you know, it'd be one thing to get caught with a little dime bag or a 20 sack, you know what I'm saying? But nah, wasn't nobody drunk. Nobody had no liquor in the car. I said I didn't even drink for the first time until I turned 21.
Yeah.
Like I said, growing up in that bar, you know, and seeing, you know, I saw a lot of shit behind that juice, man, and I was just like, damn, I could never just be 10 toes out of my square, just drinking this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I remember my dad was saying, "There's a reason they call them spirits. You see the spirit come right out of a motherfucker." Truth serum. What else you used to call it? He used to call it truth serum.
Yeah.
Motherfucker say what he means when he's drunk, man. And I heard it all in that bar, bro.
Uh-huh.
So I just never want to be that guy. My cool was always too valuable to me than to be stumbling, you know what I mean? Stumbling around and shit.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't miss it, man. I drank when I was in the Marine Corps. I drank like a lot. Like we would go on on a Saturday. We would just be like most of the time we would just be hanging out at the barracks. Like we didn't really have a ton of money, so it's not like every once in a while we would go to San Diego or something, but not super often. So usually every single weekend we would just go to the store, and like Saturday morning we would go to the store and we would all get a 30-pack of beer. And it was like, so it'd be like we all needed it. Like we all needed a 30-pack for the day. And then we would start at like 8 in the morning, and then we would just drink until we finished our 30-pack. And usually by then it's dark. And then we start drinking like Patron or whatever. And we would just be like,
well, that's probably
like all the time.
only
and
thing
then,
to do.
well, yeah. And then on Sunday we would wake up again and go back to the store and buy another 30-rack. Like, dude, whoever, it would kind of rotate whoever's room we were partying in. But like at the end of the weekend, whoever's room we were partying would have like hundreds of beer cans just stacked.
Was that before or after deployment?
I mean
Or
both. Yeah.
Both, yeah. Especially after.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, it's like Tuesday and you guys get off work at 5 and you're like, oh, what are you gonna do today? And it's just like, well, I think I'm gonna get fucked up. And then it's like,
Period.
okay, I think I'll join you, dude.
Period.
Yeah, so it's like every single day. So I used to drink a lot and I used to really enjoy it. But now I just like, it don't do anything for me at all anymore, man.
Nah.
Really.
Nah, I can't even drink a beer. I tried to drink a beer.
And I
think,
forgot
last
about
week.
the smell until you said something about it before the show. Like you woke up and you could smell yourself. It felt like it was just pouring out of your skin. Like
Right. Literally.
just
Coming
like-
out of your pores.
It felt like I was just sitting there going like, tss, like
you could,
alcohol was
you
just
could cut it
leaking.
in the room and shit. Like
Mhm.
the whole room smells
Just
like
feeling gross.
me, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to mention the next morning how you feeling and shit. I don't
Mhm.
like that shit. I feel like I'm just now getting back to decent shape.
Yeah.
I feel like that would knock me back so far, even just taking a sip of something.
Yeah,
right
it's
now
just,
would
I mean,
knock me
dude, it's
back
just not
so
even
far.
that fun, man.
It's not.
Like I remember like having the spins and shit.
Oh,
It's like,
shit.
I don't,
Damn.
yeah.
Got to put one leg up.
It's so fucked up. You know? And dude, it is so
One leg down.
it's so crazy to me that I used to drink so much that there was a certain point where I would just like, it'd be 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and then I would close my eyes and open them, and it'd be 9 a.m. and I'd be waking up like
Doing it again.
I mean, not doing it again. I would just have, I would have no idea what even happened. Like there would be a whole like 8-hour period where I was like, I was still up and doing stuff. Like I was still playing beer pong in somebody's room and doing all that shit, but I don't remember any of it.
That's called a blackout.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, God damn.
Damn.
That just sounds crazy to me. Like ridiculously irresponsible, man. Like you're not even in control at all of what the fuck.
At that point, no. At that point, no. And there was times when I've lost.
And then you have to
control.
wake up. Like, what did I do? Like,
That's when it
and
gets
it's like,
scary.
oh well, you tried to fight me and you pushed it. Like,
Everybody looking at you crazy and
yeah,
shit.
like you got really mad and kicked us all out of your room.
Tried to swan dive off the roof, motherfucker. Yeah. That's total out of control right there.
Yeah, well, and in the Marine Corps, that's usually what it was. It's like, oh, fuck, man, I blacked out. And it's like, yeah, we know because you tried to fucking punch me in my face. like, you got really mad and you said everybody had to get the fuck out of your room, like, right now. And you started just swinging on everybody. 'Cause it's like,
that's a blackout right
well, yeah,
there.
it's like, that's usually what people do. It's like,
it's
okay.
going to happen.
Like, I'm sitting there chilling and somebody's all of a sudden trying to push me down or something. And I'm like, dude, all right, he's blacked out. So we're just like, all right, man, we're just gonna put you back in your room and shut the door, and you'll be all right.
I don't know if I've been fucked up before. I don't know. I don't think I've ever tried to fight anybody while I was drunk.
Yeah.
I think I was one of them happy drunks. I love everybody when I was drunk.
Fuck, man. Yeah, blacking out just as a concept is just, I can't even imagine doing that. And the amount of booze it would take. Actually, it probably wouldn't even take that much anymore. I'd probably black out off. I probably drink 12 beers and black out.
I don't know, dog. Like I said, I tried to drink a Budweiser at that last week, bro, and I think I might have took one sip and the bottle sat on my end table downstairs probably 3 days before I got rid of it. I was like, it's like I drunk fire or something. Like,
yeah,
literally.
well, beer gives me a headache like right away now.
Stomach, it fucks up my stomach.
I have like a hops allergy now or something.
I think
it
even
I'm
gave
over
me the
30,
shits.
I have a hops allergy all of a sudden.
Possibly, I've heard that a lot about Budweiser.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
it's just any kind of beer. Like I can't even imagine drinking. And whiskey, when I was real young, I got like whiskey was ruined for me by the time I was 20.
Whoa.
Yeah, like I got fucked up real bad one time on whiskey. Like even just like smelling whiskey makes me want to throw up now.
Whiskey. Shit.
Like at a restaurant, they have like bourbon marinated steak and shit. Like I can't even do that. That shit makes me want to throw up like as soon as I smell it. As soon as I smell it, as soon as I taste it, and it's like I still have like Marine Corps friends, and like I have friends that have like committed suicide and stuff, and it's like every year we hang out and it's like, oh, let's take a shot of whiskey, and it's like I don't want to. But I can't be the only asshole, so like once a year I have to stomach one swig of whiskey, but other than that, I can't fucking do it. I have to force it, man. I can't fucking do it.
Right. I feel like whiskey, bourbon,
Yeah.
fucking wild turkey and
Butterscotch.
all that shit.
I couldn't even eat butterscotch candy for a while because I got all fucked up on some kind of liquor that tasted like butterscotch. I don't even remember what it was.
Maybe it was schnapps.
Yeah, it's probably. Yeah, I mean, it probably was butterscotch.
Schnapps had all those fucking crazy ass flavors and shit. I'm pretty sure it was schnapps, peppermint schnapps. That's what I remember from the 90s. That everybody would drink peppermint schnapps, and everybody would end up fighting each other and shit, drinking.
Yeah, it probably was butterscotch schnapps. There's this bar in 29 Palms. It was like attached to a bowling alley, but 29 Palms is like a teeny tiny town, so that's like all there was. And the bar would just be like 29 Palms is a bunch of infantry units, so like every weekend that bar would just be a bunch of dudes with buzz cuts, like all sitting in there just like doing the same thing in the barracks. They're just at the bar doing
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
like,
what I just pictured
yeah,
in
like
my
that.
mind.
That entire bar was just like it was just like Marine Corps dudes as far as the eye could see, like singing karaoke and shit too. Like it was a good time.
Clint Eastwood sitting at the end of the bar.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like an old West saloon, but I mean it was fun. But they had this they had a shot that tasted like butterscotch. I don't remember what they called it, but I'm sure it was butterscotch schnapps.
Sure
but I had like way too many of those one night. And then they dragged me back to the barracks. I'm throwing up butterscotch like the entire way.
Man.
Yeah, I couldn't have butterscotch. Like a butterscotch candy, I couldn't even think about having for a good few years after that. Yeah, man.
Yeah, not cool. I'm good with it. I'm good. Speaking of the Marine Corps, bro, I was wanting to ask you this the other day. You stopped by the house the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I was downstairs. I couldn't get upstairs because I was doing something. And so I watched you on the camera. And, bro, you still walk like you're a fucking Marine, dog.
What do you mean?
You still walk like you're a Marine, bro. I was like, man, that dude still got that strut to him.
Thanks, man. I don't know. Thank you.
Yeah,
Not on purpose.
The way you came out of the garage, I was like, oh, that dude still walks like that. I wanted to say something to you the other day.
Yeah.
Like that dude still walks like a
Shit, dude.
Marine.
Sometimes I think about the Marine Corps, man. It's like that's a whole other life for real.
Yeah.
First of all, but it's like I can't even believe that I was doing any of that.
Really?
And it's like, I mean, not even about the Marine Corps shit, but we're talking about these like going out to the Palladium was the name of the bar. Like going out to the Palladium, and I just remember I remember riding back to the barracks in people's trunks because like there wasn't
Ain't no
enough
room.
and I remember like all the times I would be like leaning out the window, just like puking out the window, like down the highway. And then it's like we got to get back on base, so we have to go through the gate and like show them our military IDs
Straighten
and
up.
stuff. Yeah, so it's like fuck, you got to quit puking for like 45 seconds and hand this guy your ID and try not to act too drunk or they're gonna stop us and want to search the car and try to catch us up doing something. And then so you sit there and you hold it together, and as soon as you get through the gate, you're just like right out the window
back
again.
to
Like
it.
fuck, man. And that's like, I mean, that would be like 3 a.m. on a Sunday, so like 3 a.m. on a Monday or whatever. And we gotta be in formation to go on a run or whatever at 5:30.
Ah,
The shit was crazy, and it was like no problem.
No
at that
problem.
Time. Yeah.
Young stud, man. You was
Yeah.
a bull.
Like,
dog.
and it was like, I mean, everybody was like that because like, you had to be. But,
I mean, and doing what you doing, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the amount of times people would have to like stop and throw up for a while. We'd be working out and somebody'd just be like, oh, I got it. I'll catch up later.
Yeah.
They would just like, blah, blah, and it's like, you know why? But
you know why?
it's fucking crazy. So not even like the Marine Corps stuff, but just like it's just fucking stupid, man. Just dumb.
The shit around it, right?
It's like,
right,
yeah, man,
right.
I'll get in the trunk. I'll get in the trunk and drive 70 on the highway for a good hour.
It hit a deep enough fucking pothole in
Yeah.
the street. You fucked up back there.
Yeah.
That's all it takes back
Yeah,
there.
it's like, oh, no big deal.
Yeah, you fucked up back
It's
there.
fucking stupid. Like I think I'm gonna live forever type shit.
We think that though.
Yeah.
We think that.
Especially
We
when
think
and now I look back on stuff like that and I'm like, God damn.
Man, I think back on some shit, man, and it literally makes me shiver. Like,
yeah, and I mean, not to mention like the Afghanistan, like I would be a little hesitant to do half of that, but back then I didn't think it was a big deal at all. I'm just like, let's fucking do it, just like sprinting out there.
Okay, great segue then. Great segue. Well, I do, plenty other veterans, Army, Navy, and all that, and I watched docus and all that, and I hear some guys say that they would go back in a heartbeat.
I don't know, man. It's like shit was kind of easier, I'm conflicted about it. Like if I had the same if I could go back and have the same body and everything, then yeah. But like now, like physically, like I know
Impossible.
I couldn't put on a full kit and hike 15 miles and shit.
Right.
Like there are days where my back hurts so bad that I don't even go to work at my office job. Like there's
Understandable,
no
highly
fucking way,
understandable, highly understandable.
So it's like I don't know. I'm conflicted about it because it's like it wouldn't be the same. Like trying to go back and do it now, it wouldn't be the same thing.
That's interesting because everything.
Because when I was doing it the first time, it was possible for me to do. I could party super hard, and I could go to the rifle range drunk and still shoot expert, and
So in high school, you said you didn't play sports or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Were you? How can I say it? Were you athletically active? Like, did you fuck around?
No. I mean,
Nothing
not
like that?
really. When I decided I was going to join the Marine Corps, I started running a lot.
Okay, you trained up for
Yeah.
it. Okay. 'Cause,
And I still was never that good at running. Like running, I was definitely one of
I'm
the-
not a good runner either. I can't jog. I look stupid as fuck. Like,
Yeah, I ran 6 miles one time, and that was the farthest I ever got to. But
training up to
yeah.
go
Yeah, well, I mean, that was
You a
in
bad
that
one.
was in one day when we were in.
better
They
than
made
me.
us, they made us run 6 miles.
6
It's like-
miles. That's a long fucking ways.
Yeah,
dog.
it's a super long way, but I was still compared to the other people, I was
What,
I was a weak ass runner.
So where were you guys doing in the Corps? 6 miles. Is that what your runs were?
No,
or
it
did
wasn't
vary
that
every day?
I only had to do that one time. That was I don't know, they just wanted to fuck with us real bad that day.
Punishment.
Because the PFT is it's you do sit-ups, you do pull-ups, and then you do a 3-mile run, and it's how many sit-ups you can do, how many pull-ups you can do, and
What do they call that? Your
PFT it's called, yeah.
Physical. I knew it was some
physical.
initials.
Physical fitness test.
You think you could do that
Um,
right now?
could I pass it? I don't know if I could pass the run, honestly. 3
Just
miles.
the run
3
would
miles
get
is a long fucking way. Well, yeah, because you only have to do 3 pull-ups. I can do 3 pull-ups. It's not a problem. And then you only have to do like
just 3 pull-ups
yeah to
Really?
pass. That's like the
to
minimum.
pass. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
like a D plus.
It's well yeah. If you only do 3, like they're not happy about it, but you
Okay.
pass. And then sit-ups, I think you only have to do like 80, but they're not sit-ups. It's
Just
crunch.
80.
It's like they're not. It's not sit-ups. It's crunches, right? So you're only really going like this far. Yeah,
Them fuckers hurt though.
yeah. After a while,
I'd rather
and-
do sit-ups.
But everybody cheats on the count, right? So you have like it's a buddy thing because you have somebody like holding your legs and sitting on your feet, so you can go hard,
Right.
so you can go like really fast. So they'll start out. It'll be like 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, 15, 16, 19, like, and they'll just go like everybody gets 100.
Okay.
So and 100 is the perfect score. So the sit-ups and the pull-ups aren't even a big deal.
Hmm.
Those are pretty easy. But the 3 miles is a long way.
This is probably a stupid question, but does everybody have a PFT?
Yeah, they're all different. Like the Army
is-
does.
so
The
they're
Army
all
does.
different.
The Army
Okay.
does push-ups instead of
So
pull-ups.
who's the roughest, toughest?
Well, I don't know. Like the Marine Corps run is the longest. I don't even know what the other ones do.
Who's got the baddest PFT? The Army, the Navy, Marine Corps, or the Air Force probably don't do shit, do they?
Well, see, I've heard.
I'm gonna have the Air Force mad at me.
Well, I heard that the Air Force one is actually really hard because like the test itself isn't hard, but instead of having you count each other, they hire civilians that are in charge of running it and they count for you. And I heard that they're like fucking like they're real strict about it. Like
God damn.
they're like
yeah, I wouldn't like that.
yeah.
That's like taking
Yeah,
the judge over the
so,
jury.
Let's see. Like I'm gonna say the Marine Corps because like I think
I try it.
like I've never really looked at them and compared them, but like I was around a lot of Navy people, and the Navy people instead of a 3 mile run, it was like a mile and a half, and they could do it like on the elliptical. So that was different. Yeah, like they could go into the gym and do a mile and a half on the elliptical, and they just had to do it in a certain amount of time. And we were out there, like so it'd be like PFT day, and the Navy dudes would go
going to the air.
they would go do their PFT in the gym, yeah.
Oh, that's whack.
And then we would go to the running trail, and we would run 3
Okay.
miles.
One up the Marine Corps.
So, let me see. Let's look at the Army. But I mean, I don't. Like I said, I've never compared them or anything. I would assume that the Marine Corps one is the
baddest one. That I would assume too. I mean, there's so few. You guys are like literally like a fraternity. Compared to the rest of the armed forces, right? I mean, there's few Marines than anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The Army is push-ups, sit-ups, and a 2 mile run. And I would say that pull-ups is harder than sit-ups.
Wow.
But yeah, so Army is push-ups, sit-ups.
Real pull-ups, yeah, they're
2 mile
kicking your
run.
ass, especially if you built like me,
Navy.
long and shit. I got a long way to pull. I try it, man. I try a PFT.
The Navy's is curl ups. What's a curl up?
Pull up, curl. I always thought those were the girl ones, but like a bicep curl, pull up type thing.
1.5 mile run, a curl up, and push ups. That's what. Oh, I think I think they do like whole sit ups is what they're talking about.
Okay.
So yeah, so the Navy's is a 1.5 mile run, and then curl ups and push ups, which seems pretty easy.
In the gym.
Yeah.
On a yoga mat.
Yeah, probably. Let's see what the Air Force's is.
Yeah, I'm interested in the Air Force.
Air Force's is 1 minute of push ups, 1 minute of sit ups, and a 1.5 mile run. Fuck, dude, that sounds so nice, honestly.
1 minute of push-ups.
We would wake up for PFT days, dude, and it's like we knew it was gonna be fucking rough.
What day of the week? Or
well, it's like you only had to run a PFT quarterly, but the day that when they made us run 6 miles, every once in a while, if they just weren't feeling very creative or if like they were bored or whatever, they'd be like, okay, so because we'd work out every morning, and by work out I mean they would just like run our dicks into the fucking dirt every single morning. and I was still not that good at running, like compared to everybody else. It's fucking.
That's all I've heard you talk about is run,
There's
run,
a bunch of
run, run,
studs in
run,
there,
run,
yeah.
run, run.
Like sometimes it's like, okay, we would like run up to the top of a mountain, and then when we got up to the top, we would like fight each other. We would like grapple, like do like jujitsu, like rolling shit, and then we would run back down, and it's like,
run,
running.
Damn.
Running was always a pretty big part of it.
I mean, well, I see
Which
where
made-
it would
I
make
mean, it made-
sense.
it made
Yeah,
a lot of
whole
sense.
lot of sense. Yeah, fuck
Made a
yeah.
lot of sense. But the day they made us run 6 miles, so if they didn't feel like having us do a bunch of weird shit, they would just be like, oh, we'll just do a practice PFT today.
Practice.
Yeah, which
PFT.
fucking sucks. So it's like, okay, be at the PFT course at
Practice
5 a.m.
PFT.
to do your
That's
pull-ups.
a mind fuck right
Yeah,
there.
for real. Yeah. So and then they were like, okay, so for the 3 mile run, we're gonna run it. Usually for the 3 mile run, it's at your own pace. You just take off, and it's because it's timed. But since we were practicing, sometimes the Marine Corps will do that thing where they make you run in formation, and they like you gotta like sing,
The cadences.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
do you
so-
still remember any?
Yeah, a ton of them. But so they were like, okay, so for the 3 miles, since we're running it today, we're gonna do it in formation. Like we're gonna run it together. So we did. So we ran the whole 3 miles, and we came back, and everyone's like, okay, cool, we're done. And then you can't stop until they tell you to stop, right?
Oh.
So we got the 3 mile course. It's like a mile and a half one way, and then you turn around and come a mile and a half back the other way, so that you end where you start. So we run in formation the mile and a half down. We turn around, we come the mile and a half back, and everyone's feeling pretty happy because it's like, okay, that sucked, but we're done, and like we're gonna go get some breakfast or whatever. Like go to the chow hall and get a breakfast burrito and some orange juice and shit. Like we're all really excited about that. So we get to the finish line. And like I said, you can't stop running until they like stop you, until it's like pretty formal. They like,
Right.
and then they're like, platoon halt type shit. So we get to the line where we're supposed to stop, and he just turns us around,
Keeps
and then we
going.
go back. We go back a mile and a half again, and we're just like, fuck. And then this time we come back around and we get back to the front, and I'm like, I'm actually kind of feeling pretty proud of myself because that's the farthest I've ever run by far. I'm like, damn, dude, I just ran 6 miles straight. That is fucking crazy.
Fuck, that's a long ways.
So, which I mean, for some people, that's like they do that shit every morning. But like for me, like the longest I had run at that point was 3 miles, and I had only ever gone that far when they really made me do
And
it.
in formation, so you mean guy here,
Yes.
guy in. So
Yeah, so we had to stay in our little rows and stuff, and it's like,
that's-
well, and I don't get to set the pace,
Right.
So, like, yeah, so it's
so is the best runner in front?
sometimes
do they do it like
it
that?
depends. It depends on what they feel like doing. Sometimes they'll have sometimes they just have you line up by like height, or sometimes they'll have slow people up front to set the pace, or sometimes they'll put the fast people up front to set the pace to make the slow people have to run faster. Like, but we just kind of jumbled up, and wherever we fell is where we fell.
Running in.
It was. I mean, it
formation.
wasn't that. We were like jogging. It wasn't that big of a deal. But,
Okay.
so we finished it the second time, and this time like none of us are happy because we don't know if we're gonna stop or not at that point. Like he already fucked with us the one time,
That
So we're
little
like,
tear.
yeah. So we're getting back to the starting line, and we're like, I have no idea if I should be ready to stop or if I should be ready to go 3 more miles. Like I have no idea when this dude is gonna let me stop running.
Mind.
And yeah, it's like a big mind fuck because this
Mind
dude,
fuck.
it's this whole thing where this dude he just says, okay, start running, and like I'm not allowed to stop until he says I can. It's like, yeah,
Damn.
it's weird.
Yeah, you're a bad motherfucker. I don't think I've ever ran
Yeah,
a mile.
yeah. Like I said, it wasn't that fast. We had dudes that would like, they would run the 3 miles in like 10 minutes. Yeah, it was fucking nuts. There was a dude. He was bald, and he would wear. So we'd have to wear the green t-shirts and those green short shorts.
Right.
So we'd always, there'd be like 100 dudes standing there in tiny green short shorts waiting to run 3 miles. But there's this dude who he was bald, so he'd be there in his green t-shirt and his tiny short shorts. He would wear a sweatband around his head, and then he had a sweatband around his arm too, and he had 3 cigarettes in there. And this motherfucker, he would, right before we went, he would light one up, and then we would start, and he would get to the turnaround point, and he would stop and smoke at the 1.5 point. And then he would run the other 1.5 miles, and then when he got done, he would light up right away again. And that dude, he was like 12 minutes. He was doing it fast as fuck.
Damn, that's a bad motherfucker right there.
He would like sprint the 1.5 miles and then stand there and smoke a cigarette.
Damn.
And then sprint the 1.5 miles back.
Damn.
Yeah.
What the fuck was he made of?
I don't
He
know,
was
man.
made of tobacco.
Yeah,
Fuck.
different stuff than I was, man, because I was smoking, but fuck, I don't even remember how long it would take me. It would take me like 19 minutes.
Yeah, it probably me about that.
which was like slow. Like I'm saying that right now, and I'm like, damn, that seems kind of fast, but it was slow as fuck.
What is a fast mile?
Compared to
5
everybody
minutes or
else.
something?
Yeah.
3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's like fast.
Yeah, like really, really. That well, I mean, 5 minutes. It's like really,
5
really,
minutes. Yeah, I ain't
3 minutes would be ridiculous.
Yeah, you a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
But,
there's no reason.
yeah, like I would finish anywhere from like 18 to 20 minutes ish, and I would be like usually one of the last ones to finish. But I think we had the maximum you could take was 28 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a slow.
Yeah, but like your performance and like your promotion and stuff is based on it. So like if your PFT score is low, you just won't get promoted and shit.
So is like weight training like is
You gotta do that on your own time.
Oh, that's on your own time.
Yeah, there's a gym and stuff, but you gotta if you want to go weight train, pretty much do that. On
So
your
is
own.
it is
I mean, sometimes they would do. They
so
would
muscles and strength and all
sometimes
that
they would have
swole
days.
shit. Don't is it?
I mean, it kind of does, but like I mean,
a
once,
priority.
no, because once you deploy, it all goes away, man. Like everybody's
you're gonna be running and
like
working, and not
everybody's
eating. And
everybody's
shit.
skinny as fuck.
Right.
Like because we did have dudes that were super huge and jacked and stuff, but by the time we got back from Afghanistan, they were the same size as everybody else.
Okay,
you know?
okay. Well,
They just like
that's
they
where
just,
I was gonna go with
They
it.
just shrank, man. They just deflated. So some dudes did make it a priority. Like after work, they would go straight to the gym and lift for 2 hours or whatever. But most of us were like, yeah, that worked out. Like the shit they made me do this morning, that was enough for me today.
So yeah, you see that shit in the movies where it's this big swole ass dude.
Yeah,
with
because
a
it was
big
more
ass.
about like, I mean, endurance is bigger than anything, you know. Like, and I mean, getting all big and muscle, that's just more weight that you have to carry. Like if we're going on a 25-mile hike, then
So let me ask you this: like in the Air Force, like back in the day, the basketball player David Robinson entered I think it was the Navy, and I think he was like 6'3". By the time his 4 years was up, this dude was like 7'2", and they said there was no way they were going to be able to put him on a submarine or a boat or anywhere. He was actually drafted in '85, but the Navy wouldn't let him go until '87 to the San Antonio Spurs. So I say that is there a such thing as too small, or is there such thing as too big for the Marine Corps?
well, I mean, there's such thing as like too fat.
Too fat, yeah.
Yeah, but
They gonna slim your ass.
I mean,
up
too
in a
big.
minute,
No,
though.
but like some people deploy and they get huge because there's like gyms on base and stuff. So like the people that deploy and they stay on base, they get pretty big. But
so they got iron over there.
yeah, but like the infantry dudes that are out doing stuff. I don't know how else to say it. Sorry. Like everybody's doing stuff, but
You
like
ain't gonna
but
hold
like
no muscle.
but yeah, like we didn't have time to use the gym because we were never on base. Like we didn't have access to it, and like we were running ops and shit. So
you wasn't gonna build nothing anyway.
yeah, like we couldn't. Like we just didn't have time to go to
So
the gym.
everybody over there.
Like, but there's some people deploy and they have like basically office jobs, and then they get really buff because like
Okay.
the gym. It's kind of like jail a little bit over
Right.
there because it's like I don't have anything else to do, so I'm gonna go to the
A
gym.
bunch of
So I know.
well-trained fucking marathon.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people that deployed and got like really big, but they weren't
Wasn't doing a
they
whole
weren't
lot.
yeah, well they weren't doing missions and stuff. They weren't like those are the guys that didn't leave the base a single time, like
I was
type
gonna
shit.
know,
Which there's nothing wrong with that. More power to you, man.
'cause
I'm
I
a
see
little,
some
like,
big jacked
I'm a little
up
jealous, man. But,
swole motherfuckers, and I'm like, damn, dog, ain't like, wouldn't you be a target, motherfucker? Get that big motherfucker right there first.
yeah, it's just hard when you're like, especially when you're doing. I don't know what it's like now, but when you're doing workups for deployment and you're like in the field all the time, it's just hard because it's like. Because on Monday, we'd be like, okay, so we're going to the field from Tuesday to Friday. Here's what you need to pack. Here's the stuff we're going to be doing. Here's the ranges that we're running.
And
So
in
then-
the field, you mean on a mission?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not on, we're talking about training. So I'm
Okay.
talking about when we're in California. But
Okay.
in the field just means like out on the range training. So it's like, so we would go like camping basically. We would go
For a
out
week?
yeah. Then
Oh.
that's what our like Monday through Friday would be like.
Damn.
And then we'd be off on the weekend. And then next Monday we'd be back
So
to
y'all way
training.
the fuck out in the dirt somewhere.
Yeah.
For a week, then come back.
Yeah,
for
so
a week.
it's hard to like. It's just hard to hit the gym like
Yeah,
that.
it would be.
because
would be.
like we couldn't because like we get off work and it's just like we were just sitting on the ground doing nothing like for real.
Well, what
And that was like this was when smartphones and shit were like first coming out, but we weren't allowed to bring them with us. Like I think now they let you bring your phones with you because who cares? But,
Well, shit, you get an iPad in prison, so
Yeah.
things have changed.
yeah, but back
for
then it
both
was
of
like
us.
back then it was like if they caught you with your phone, they would just fucking smash it on the ground right in
No
front of your
shit.
face and shit and tell you
Damn.
to deal with it. It's
Another
like-
parallel to the penitentiary. We come up
Yeah,
with them
they're
every now and then.
yeah. It's like and they're like, what are you gonna do? Tell on me.
Who you
Like,
gonna call? Who you
like
gonna
tell
call?
somebody, dude. Like you weren't supposed to bring it. Go tell them that. Go tell First Sergeant that you had something you weren't supposed to have.
So communication while you were over there was pretty much writing and because FaceTime,
In Afghanistan.
none of that was around yet. Was
Yeah,
it?
well, yeah, it was mostly writing because, like I said, I was just off base a lot. Like I didn't have, like I'd come back like hopefully once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, and then I'd be able to check Facebook and shit.
Okay.
But yeah, and then there was Skype, like people Skype. You could.
Oh yeah, that
like,
was
you could
like
Skype
one of the
with your-
first.
Yeah,
things
some of
out.
the cameras had those webcams that like old computers used to have.
Okay.
And, so sometimes you could Skype, but most of the time it was like. It was writing letters, and then, like I said, maybe every couple months I could go check Facebook or whatever. And then hopefully every couple weeks there was one satellite phone for the whole company, and the headquarters platoon would just keep it, and they would drive around, and like when they resupplied you, you could use the satellite phone for like 10 minutes.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
But there was like 10 seconds of delay. I'd be like, oh, hey mom, what's up? And then there'd be like 20 seconds of silence, and she'd be like, oh, nothing, what's going on with you? And 20 seconds of,
Damn.
yeah.
That's crazy as fuck.
Yeah, so it wasn't ideal. Well, and any time I was calling, I'd have no idea like what it'd would be over here. So it'd usually be like 2, 3 in the morning, and like people wouldn't answer, which made people feel bad. But it's
Right.
like nothing makes your mom feel
Right.
worse than a missed call from
Right.
Afghanistan.
I
but-
guess your sense of time would be all fucked up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Well, it's just because I don't know what time and it's like this is the only opportunity I'm gonna have to use this phone until at least next week. So like I'm gonna try to make a phone call, but
Did you?
so as far as like actually getting a hold of somebody, it didn't like they would like I would let them know when I was back on base, and they would
And try to be there.
and then I could be like, I'm gonna try to call you around this time or whatever. Then we could kind of coordinate like that. So getting actually on the phone with somebody was a lot easier when I was on base. It's just
Right.
like I said, man, I wasn't on base that much.
Well, let me ask you this, because I felt like this. Like when I first got to prison, like shit was happening, and I was seeing shit. I was seeing motherfuckers drop and disappear and not come back and shit type shit.
Yeah.
So I'm calling my mom and them like every night, like, yo, I seen this, and it got to the point where I felt like I was like stressing my mom out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm too close to the perimeter of all this action that's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
So it got after, years gone by, and I started learning, I felt like, I'm trying to say this and make sense. I felt like the less I called my mom, the less she would be worried. Kind of like no news is good news type thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever go through that?
Well, not really, because I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't really get too specific about stuff, like because there were times I would like call my mom, like right before we were about to go, like set an ambush and stuff, and it's like I'm not like I didn't tell her that,
Right.
like I'd be like, oh, how's it going? She'd say blah blah blah. How's stuff going with you? And I would tell her about like some of the funny stuff that was happening, or like, the like
The homies.
the like animals we were running into, or
Right.
like what the homies were doing, or like what I was about to eat, or like I would tell her about stuff like that, but I wasn't really telling her like oh yeah, we fucking like I got shot at yesterday and we found a bunch of bombs today. I don't really remember ever telling her about stuff like that.
Right.
The only time I talked to her about stuff like that was after I got after I was done getting checked out at the hospital. I called her and I was like, hey, so I'm fine. Like, don't freak out, but I got blown up, but I'm fine. But I'm like, I just got out of the hospital. They checked me out. Everything's fine. So like, I'm fine, but it's okay. Like, but she obviously that worried her pretty bad. But
Yeah.
like I wasn't gonna not tell her about that. But I don't really remember getting too specific about what was actually going on. Like just like, oh, how's stuff going? I just be like, oh, it's good, and we're doing this and we're having fun, and Peterson did this yesterday, and
Right,
it was
right,
funny, or
right.
whatever. Or it's like it's cold as shit, so we're just sitting around. Or there was a big sandstorm, so we just sat in the vehicles all day, whatever. Like I was telling her about that stuff, but I wasn't telling her when I was calling like, oh hey, we just got back from whatever, or
Keeping it on the main line.
like we're about to go.
Well, I guess that's kind of
set
in
an
a way what
ambush
you
or
were
whatever.
doing. That's
Well, and
kinda
it's
what you were
well, and
doing.
it's also like all that stuff is like, I mean, not like it's cool or anything, but like all that stuff is secret. You know, like
You couldn't anyway.
yeah, like
Right.
I can't really be
Right.
like, oh hey, here's the op we're running, and here's where we're going, and here's what we're gonna do.
And
You like
still, you know, as
you're not supposed
many
to talk about all that.
as
So.
many stories as I have about prison, I got a whole lot more that just I can't.
Yeah.
It's against the rules. I got to keep that shit under wraps.
Mhm.
I got to take that shit to the grave. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so,
that's kind of in a way what you were doing, reinsuring mom. Yeah.
mhm.
But
Yeah,
I
because
kinda-
it's like I wasn't gonna stop calling her because like, you know, she wanted to hear from me real bad, and I wanted to hear from her too. Obviously, like I wanted to know what's going on.
right.
But yeah, it was mostly letters. My mom sent a lot of packages, obviously.
Oh, the
And I
good
mean,
shit.
she's the best, so she was great. But like, she was asking like what my friends want and shit, you know. So
Oh
like,
hell yeah, hell yeah.
so she was sending me these big old packages with a whole like all kinds of shit, and we're opening it up, and I'm like handing shit out like Santa Claus.
break
you
bread,
know?
baby.
Yeah.
We break bread. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
So
That's what we do.
yeah, so that was nice. Mom was always awesome about that. But
My mom, I swear, would write me like Monday through fucking Saturday, man. I
Yeah.
would get a letter from my mom.
Yeah, I got
almost like she was literally talking to me.
yeah, when we got mail, it was like once a month. You know,
I
so
know,
it would
mom. I know.
so it would just be like, but there was. I mean, I don't remember a single time where there was mail call and I didn't get something.
I didn't get nothing from my mom. Right.
Like I always had to like the mail truck was always like in the middle of a big circle of vehicles, and I remember always walking back with a big stack of
Mail day, baby. That makes you feel. Mail day
Yeah.
does something for
Yeah,
you,
it
man.
really does.
It'll. You can be having a fucked up week, man. Fucked up day. You get that mail
Mm-hmm.
call. You walk in the unit and you see Wilkinson on there.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, I got some mail. I know Mama wrote me. I know Mom, and she telling me everything.
Well, yeah, and it was awesome because it's like I know there's cigarettes in here.
Hell yeah.
I know there's hella snacks in here. There's some new socks in here. That's really exciting. I got some fresh underwear in this motherfucker for sure. I got probably some nice toothpaste. Like, yeah,
Hell yeah. Shout out to Mama Neil, man.
yeah.
Shout out to
like,
Mama
yeah,
Neil.
I was always walking back with like 3 or 4 boxes of shit.
Mm.
Like, my grandma was sending me cartons of cigarettes and stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
Nutter Butters.
Snacks and shit.
My grandma sent me the Bible on an MP3 player. She sent me.
MP3
Yeah,
player.
she sent me a-
Whoa.
Sent me the audio book of the Bible on an MP3 player.
No shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
R.I.P. Grandma.
No shit. MP3 player,
Yeah, she
baby.
sent me an MP3 player with the whole Bible on it. I'm like, thanks, Grandma.
So another question.
Uh,
While we on the subject,
sure.
this has always been interesting to me. I think it was what was the movie Jarhead
Yeah.
when the chopper flew by and they were playing like the Vietnam like music and shit, but the dude got mad and said that's fucking Vietnam music. Play some 90s. What was the shit for y'all over there? What was y'all slapping? Keep you up and going.
I mean,
We're
a lot.
talking 08, 09.
I mean, a lot of stuff, man. Because everybody had their own like.
different.
Everybody
flavor.
had their own MP3 players, and everybody had their own laptop and speakers and shit. So like, so there's a few of them. So there's a lot of rap, obviously, a lot of hip hop. There was I remember, fuck that. What's that Eminem song where he's like, "You're on fire." It's on like Recovery, I think. But he talks about being on fire. I remember, one of our vehicles caught on fire. And a dude was listening to that song on his speaker in there. So the vehicle's in flames, and the speaker inside is like, "You're on fire." So there's a lot of that, a lot of Eminem actually. A lot of dudes listen to Eminem. There's some country bumpkins in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say
so
you gotta have your country western
yes,
dudes.
there's some country guys, but like that's where because I started listening to like Lupe Fiasco stuff a little bit in high school, and then one of my friends, McLaughlin, he was really into Lupe Fiasco and stuff too. So
Okay.
like, so we were listening to like Lupe. We were listening to Lupe. We were listening to Kid Cudi. Shit like that. Kanye.
Okay.
Yeah, it was basically like whoever the. I mean, Lil Wayne, obviously.
A lot of Lil Wayne.
a lot of
a
Lil
lot,
Wayne.
especially back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably a lot of Lil
Yeah,
Wayne.
I remember a dude had the iPhone 4. The iPhone 4 came out, and he was the only one that had good enough signal to download the new Lil Wayne album when the Carter 4 came out.
Right.
So we were all standing around this dude, and he was holding his iPhone 4 in the air to get better reception. And it took him like an hour to download the Carter 4, and then we all sat around his phone and listened to it. So yeah, Lil
Good
Wayne.
times right there.
Yeah, Lil
man.
Wayne.
Good times.
Lil Wayne was big. Um, yeah, we listen to rap mostly
Rap
in our
mostly.
platoon. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. In the penitentiary, same thing. All different type of shit. But I also learned a lot of different shit in there too.
Mm-hmm.
Always did like a little bit of rock and roll, but I learned a lot of different
Yeah,
shit
and
in
then there
there.
was like some dudes are like a lot. They've been in the Marine Corps for like 20 years, so they were like there was some like classic rock dudes
Classic rock. Yeah, I just
too.
just those times in prison. I remember a specific music that was going
Yeah,
on.
my platoon sergeant was like really into punk rock. He's from California, and he was really into like
Really, punk rock from
punk
Cali,
rock.
huh?
Yeah.
I always thought that was an East Coast thing,
No,
but
I mean like Green Day's from California.
are they? Were
Mm-hmm.
they? Really? I always thought they was from the East Coast.
Mm-mm.
No shit.
No, they're from like Oakland, I think.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
there's a punk rock scene in California, but yeah, mostly rap. And then there's a good chunk of the platoon that was Mexican, and they liked Mexican music. I don't really know.
Tito Puente,
I don't really know what genre you would call it. Besides like, and then they listen to like Daddy Yankee and
Daddy
stuff.
Yankee,
Which
probably some Tito Puente.
yeah, Suavemente was listened to a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some of that. I know some of it.
Yeah.
One thought
Yeah, so it's kind of whatever. Like when I was in, everybody had their little. It was like at the beginning of iPods and stuff. Like you remember there was like the iPod Minis.
I was in the joint.
Oh well, yeah. There's like the iPod Minis, and you could like plug them into your like little speaker. Like speakers would have like a
The
little
little slim
little
joints.
plug-in. Yeah, speakers would have like a little plug-in for iPods, sticking out the top of them, and you would just stick your iPod into the speaker.
And that was 08, 07, 08, 09.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
In
09,
the
10.
penitentiary, we were still using CD players
Yeah.
around that same time. Your CD player, matter of fact, everything, like my headphones right here, the same exact headphones, these are the same style that you could order from a catalog. I can't remember what kind of catalog it was, but you could get like Sears catalogs and shit, and you could order like headphones like this, right? But they had to be clear body, like the whole body of these headphones, even the headband, everything has to be clear. Your clippers, your TV, anything that has a motor in it, it has to be clear so they can see through it and shit. So we still using CD players. I think I might still have that fucking thing, but the whole body of the CD player is clear, like you can see everything going on in it. But I remember hearing about the MP3 players. Never got a chance to use one.
Yeah.
I think
so
they were already out of style by the time I got out.
Yeah, everybody had their own little MP3 player and their speaker and shit. So when we were back on base in our little fucking hut thing, there'd be people watching movies. There'd be Mexican music over in this corner, and McLaughlin would be listening to Lupe Fiasco over in the other corner, and then some dudes would be watching some fucking American Horror Story, I think. Yeah, some dudes had like laptops, like they had hard drives just full of like TV shows they downloaded and shit. I watched what the fuck is that? That movie, The Fourth Kind. You remember that movie? It's about alien abductions and shit.
I think I remember the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, The Fourth Kind. It freaked me out real bad, and we watched it in Afghanistan, like just in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
like
fuck.
just like everywhere is like pitch black.
Yeah, it's wrong time.
Like
wrong
you
place.
you haven't seen dark, man. Like the world looks different when all the lights are off. Like the sky in Lincoln, Nebraska does not look like the sky actually looks. So you can see like there's more stars than black in the sky. Like it's insane. So we're watching this movie about alien abductions and shit, and it's like, so there's like a ton of stars, but it's like it's pitch black and you can't see shit, and we're all huddled around this laptop, and then we had a poncho liner over. We made like a little tent out of a poncho liner. So then we come out of the poncho liner and we're all freaked out about this fucking movie, and it's just like space looking at us, and we're like, oh fuck.
Oh man.
Yeah, so the first time I watched that movie, I was bugged out real bad.
I've seen that
Afghanistan.
once in my life when me and my wife were driving through Texas in the middle of the dark, where the stars, like they were just like caked. Like
there's a spot in Nebraska that's supposed to be like one of the least light polluted spots in the country or something. Like people go stargazing and shit out there.
Well,
I don't remember where it is, but me and my wife want to.
That would be dope. I'd have to take a fucking telescope and everything, or two.
Yeah, because
that would be dope. We might need to plan that in the future.
Yeah,
I would do
shit
that.
like that's cool.
Me and Jenna talk about that shit all the time. We gotta go find somewhere, because like I said, we used to do that paper route, and there's probably light pollution out there now, but there, it was a new
Yeah.
development of Lincoln, so there wasn't no street lights or nothing. And the way I saw the stars out there, I've
Yeah,
never seen the stars like
it's
this
different,
ever in my
man.
life.
Yeah.
You can't even count that shit, man. It's like layers of them and shit. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I'm like, that shit's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, and there's times we were deployed where there would be like, I mean, I don't know. I never really looked at the map that often. I wasn't in charge of that, but it's like there had to be times where we were like in any direction. There was like hundreds of miles where there was no like
Nothing.
besides like people's little huts with their like candles inside and shit. There was no like no electricity, no street lights, no buildings, no
Far
cars.
as you can fucking see.
Yeah, for like there had to have been times where it was like hundreds of miles in any
Trying to
direction.
wrap
Like
my
we were
mind
out we
around
were
that.
out in the middle of nowhere.
Trying to wrap my mind around that. Well,
I mean, not all the time, but sometimes we drove out just into nothing.
I cut a kid's hair that plays golf for UNL here, and he's from the UK.
Yeah.
Interesting little kid, man, and just kind of off subject a little bit. I kind of tucked his collar in so I could clean up his neck, and just rocks around his fucking neck. I'm like, man, you might want to hide this. Somebody will try you for this fucking thing, man. I said, what do you do? I mean, you planning on going pro or anything? He's like, oh, my dad's a diamond cutter back home. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, kid said he was coming back from the UK, and he got over Nebraska. He said all he saw was just two dots. The rest of the state was just dark as fuck. This is Nebraska. Those two dots were Lincoln and Omaha. I said, God, yeah. There's nobody out there.
Yeah.
And it still can't compare to what you saw over there as far as fastness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wrap my mind around that.
Yeah, it was crazy. Someday, like, there's parts about that I do kind of miss, like, just like
The gazing, just
just like laying in the sand in the middle of nowhere and just looking at the sky, and there's like especially on a full moon, and I can still see like everything.
Panoramic like a motherfucker. Oh man, that would be literally a panoramic view.
Just like a big blue desert, like all the way around me, and then
Damn.
just stars. Man, it was like some of that stuff was pretty cool, for real.
Yeah, I can imagine it would be. Did you ever see anything non-human?
No, I mean, there was this time. There was this time where we saw like, we were out in the middle of nowhere, and we saw, like out in the distance, and I mean maybe it was like a mirage or something or whatever, but we all saw it, and they looked at it through the thermal sights and everything. But it was in the middle of nowhere, and just out in the distance we saw this because all the ladies over there are like covered up in like head to toe shit, like a big like flowy thing that like blows in the wind and shit.
Right.
So out in the distance we saw, it looked like somebody wearing a black one of those, just walking, just like all by themselves in the middle of nowhere. We're like, is that just a lady out in the middle of the desert, like by herself? Like we haven't seen anybody in like 2 days.
Damn.
And now there's this lady just walking in the middle of nowhere. And like we all saw it, and somebody looked at it through the sights even, so like there was thermal, so like we could see it.
No heat.
No, there was heat.
There was.
Yeah, and it looked all normal, and we're like, well, let's go check that shit out, whatever. So it's like, they were kind of like on the top of a hill, and they kind of went over to the other side, and we drove one of the vehicles over there, and we got to the top of the hill, and there was just like, we just couldn't figure out where they went. And it's like the middle of nowhere. Like
Nowhere to hide.
like there's nowhere to go.
Hide.
It's just in the middle of the desert. So there's like sand dunes and stuff, but there was nowhere that they could have gone. Like we were driving and they were walking. So
I mean, the reason I ask, because y'all on some ancient fucking grounds.
yeah, so that was kind of like borderline weird, but I mean, not necessarily. Like that could have been just a person fucking.
The land of giants and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So nothing like that. Some people say they see like UFOs and shit, but
matter of fact, I was looking at that shit. Alabama leads everywhere in UFO sightings.
really,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
something about Alabama.
I thought for a long time that we had discovered a species of lizard, because there was these. I was telling my wife about it a few weeks ago. There was these big. They look like iguanas, but they were big and black. Just straight black, and they look like iguanas. And I would walk up on them sometimes, and you wouldn't even know they were there. They would just be like sitting on rocks, like sunbathing and stuff. And like you would walk up on them and scare them, and they would fucking take off. and they were like fast as shit, and we're like, what the fuck are those?
Not aggressive.
No, and I was like, I'm just like, those are just like in my head. I'm just like, those are like just black iguanas. It's not a big deal, whatever. But then after I got out, I tried to Google them a couple times, like black Afghanistan iguanas or whatever, and nothing would ever come up. So I'm like, damn, did we discover a species and shit? But then my wife, she just Googled like Afghanistan black lizards and not black iguanas, and it came right up. It's like it's a totally it's a totally
lizard is an iguana a lizard?
I mean, iguana is like a specific kind of lizard, but so technically they're not black iguanas. But all I had ever Googled was black iguana.
Okay.
And nothing ever came up, but it was normal shit.
Black lizard.
So for a long time, I was like, damn, did I see some weird shit out there with these weird black lizards? But no, they're normal.
They're normal.
Totally normal.
Okay. About to say.
Yeah.
Fucking Komodo dragons.
They were weird to me. Yeah, they do. They did look like little Komodo dragons. Yeah.
Man, that motherfucker run up on you, boy.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year it was. This is back when I worked construction. It was like mid-90s. You can ask Jenna about it. She knew the guy.
Okay.
Well, a lot of these small towns, like they're like villages and shit like that. So they were all federally funded. So the feds would come in, say if you made $11 an hour, the feds would come in and match your $11 as long as it took you to do this job. So you would make $22 an hour, right? Well, they kept delaying us coming to this town. Kept delaying us. So we would go do other jobs and shit, right? So we finally get into this town. And I remember seeing the house, like, it looked like a house that would be from, like, Arizona or Cali or so. You ever see, you know those
like
retaining
stucco.
walls that made out of the stucco and shit?
Yeah.
They made the wall out of that shit and everything. I'm like, that's odd, that kind of house here in this little-ass town in Nebraska. Well, this guy had 2 Komodo dragons, and one dug under the fucking wall and got out and was running around in this town.
And that's why they were delaying you?
That's why they kept delaying us.
What the fuck?
They had to search for this fucking thing. I can't remember what year that was. I can't even remember the name of the town. It was somewhere around Janice town. There was a guy that had fucking monkeys right on Highway 34. This guy was so rich, man. He was bringing boulders and shit from Colorado Springs on truck beds and shit to put it in his backyard.
Damn.
Had monkeys and shit.
Can't find any. All I can find is a Komodo dragon at the Omaha Zoo biting a motherfucker.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, you gotta ask.
2015. That's interesting, man.
David City, I think
Shit.
it was.
All right. Well, let me try. David City, Nebraska, Komodo dragon.
What was that? 94, 95?
Yeah, all I can find is the zoo thing.
How do you get close to that and where you let it bite you?
I don't know, man. Why do you have one in the first place?
Why you fucking around with that?
Yeah, I don't know. Man, I feel like we talked about it a lot today. That's all the time we got. I feel like we covered a lot of subjects, man.
Fuck yeah, man.
The hour flew by.
It did.
I saw the dude Bozzy commented, said he likes the hour-long videos better. And I don't know. I shortened them because there was like, when we first started, there was times where it was like we would get to like 45 minutes and then we would force it for another 15, and those episodes kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, we don't have it. And I bumped it down to 45 minutes, but every once in a while we go over, which is fine. I just don't have a hard rule about it anymore. It's just like whenever it feels like we're
It's
done.
in the air, baby.
Yeah, whenever it feels like we're done, we're done. And if that's at 45 minutes, that's cool. Because, I mean, those first, like, it was probably like the first, I don't even know, like 20, 30 episodes. Where
When it gets good, it gets good.
Yeah, where we were like, I mean, there was a bunch of episodes in a row where we, like, our conversation just died at like 46 minutes, and then we would sit here like trying to think of something to talk about for 14 minutes. So I don't disagree that an hour is good. I'm not gonna force it ever again. Probably
the flow gotta be right. When the flow is right,
yeah, I think we're gonna hit
got
it.
you.
I think we're gonna hit an hour this time too.
But shout out to Bossy 571 though, man.
Yeah, for real, man. Yeah,
Shout out to the Trash Talk boys, man. I fuck with them dudes every day, man. We might have to work something out with them dudes. Them dudes is fucking.
Yeah, they're good. They got a
crazy.
couple other guys on there now too. It looks.
Yeah. Them dudes are fucking wild.
Yeah, those guys are funny, man.
What-
I don't know. They do good shit.
What was the question of the day today? What are your favorite fantasy movie if it was turned into a game? And you would be able to live in it? Which game would it be? So I said, I know it's not a game yet, And why is Harry Potter a game? Is there a Harry Potter game?
Yeah, they just put out that one.
That's right. I knew it. I knew it.
Hogwarts Legacy, it's called. Like, I want that bad.
But I would love to play Quidditch, dog. I feel
Yeah,
like I'd
this
be
one
good
doesn't.
at Quidditch,
This one
man.
doesn't have Quidditch in it.
Ah,
Yeah, everybody's kind of pissed
they need to make that shit for
about
real.
that Quidditch game.
I'd play that shit.
What house would you be? You know the houses,
I used to.
Gryffindor and shit.
I used to. I've never seen the Harry Potter movie, man. I'm gonna go ahead
Really?
and bust your head with this, dog. I was walking through the vestibule in the library in prison, and I saw a Harry Potter book. So I was like, huh, let me read this. I'm hearing a lot of hoopla about this movie on the outs, right? I read that book, the first book, and I went to the library and I tried to find the other ones. I couldn't find them for shit. Dudes were checking them out and fucking keeping them and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, Harry Potter was big in prison.
It was for
That's
me. It
fucking
was.
crazy.
So I had my homegirl out on the streets. You know, she was
Yeah.
a paralegal. So I said, "Hey, go find that whole fucking Harry Potter series for me and send it to me in here." She's like, "Are you fucking serious?" I said, "Yeah." I still got my Harry Potter series
Did you
downstairs
read 'em all?
in my. I read them all, bro. Read them all.
I think I got through the first 4.
Read 'em all.
When those came out, my mom was like, she made me read. She was like, you have to read the first 3, and then after that, you can decide if you want to keep reading them or not. It was
think
like
we're,
because
what,
I had to read
6?
like a certain number of books for school and shit.
6
you know?
altogether, I
Yeah,
think
I
there
think it was
were.
like 6 or 7.
I've never seen them. I don't want to see the movie because it'll ruin what I have in my head.
The movies are pretty good.
I heard that. Everybody tells me that. But Chronicles of Narnia, I did that and it let me down.
Really?
I read Chronicles of Narnia and I watched that. Great movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
But reading the book, it kind of let me down.
I don't think Harry Potter would let you down, man.
You know?
I think you should give him a shot.
might
At
try
least
it.
at least watch like the
I
first
might
one
try it.
and just try it out
I
because
might
those are pretty good, man. That's like the movies are like part of it. I think.
I
you know?
might try it. Stone cold gangster thug, dog. Reading
Sick,
Harry
reading
Potter in the
Harry
joint,
Potter.
man. We're going to end out on that.
That's funny as hell, man. All right. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell whoever you think would like to listen to a pretty cool podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're on TikTok loosely. That fucking, like, the only notifications I get on TikTok anymore are my wife. She sends, like, if she sees something funny, she sends it to the Always Chillin' one because that's the only one that I use. And then also our fucking 50 Cent thing. Every once in a while, we'll get
popping.
We'll get a comment about how we fucking suck.
Hey, man.
And we didn't even say anything bad, dude. We love you. 50
Man,
Cent.
y'all got to listen to the show.
We love
man.
50. All right. Anyways, check us out. Subscribe, review us, like, comment, do all that stuff. Whatever you do on your app. Videos are on YouTube and Spotify if you're not watching the videos yet. You guys have a good week. Thanks for listening.